Rockstar Games added poker to Red Dead Online when it brought the game out of beta last week. But the feature now looks to be restricted in certain regions due to varying gambling laws. As ongoing lootbox conversations have pointed out, gambling laws can be a complicated beast to deal with for games that are released in countries and regions with strict regulations on the practice. Poker games in Red Dead Online do not use the game's premium currency, so winnings do not have that actual real-world value. But comments collected by Kotaku seem to indicate that Rockstar is taking a better safe-than-sorry approach toward online poker games in countries where such actions might be against the law. Players reached out to Rockstar support after being unable to find the in-game activity, and, according to transcripts of those conversations shared to Reddit, were told that poker will not be available in countries where online gambling is restricted or illegal. Other players, and Kotaku itself, when reaching out to Rockstar a comment, were pointed to a note on the support site that mentions certain features are not available at all times for all players. While gambling in Red Dead Online is not directly monetized, Rockstar's decision to restrict poker play by region likely aims to avoid a future headache if regulators in those countries were to decide the mode violated gambling laws. Game companies like EA and Konami, to name a few, have had to change or remove game features that were deemed to qualify as gambling in certain countries, though typically the offending features are monetized in some way. First, a note about how I am doing this post-mortem. I am a marketer who arrived in the team a few weeks ago and gathered the feedback of everyone working on it. They sent me by DM to make it a bit more anonymized and less influenced by other people's experience. I'd also added feedback from my own point of view, as someone arriving in the latest months of a project. We will be releasing Sigma Theory on April 19th, if you are interested. After the success of Dungeon Rushes, Johan, the creator of Goblin Studio, wanted to work on a game using the same code-base gameplay. It would be a sci-fi RPG game, taking the gameplay basis of Dungeon Rusher, but improving it. The same team would be on board, and used its experience gained on the first game of Goblin Studio. There were some hiccups, and the art director of Dungeon Rushes was not available anymore. Johan hired Matthew to do Robothorium. It's quite important, because it was Matthew's first project. He learned a lot but still had to gain experience to make something cool. Matthew accommodated nicely, but the art and creative direction were a bit clunky from the beginning. The team had to do a complete rework of the art direction and change all sprites. For the sake of the game, it did help, but we still noticed players were not interested in it that much. Using the old engine was a bit hard to do at first. We used the basis of Dungeon Keepers. Using an old basis seems flawless and the best use case. That's in programmers' dreams. Not in reality. The story is a sci-fi tale about a war between a robot and humanity. There is a whole plot about how robots trying to integrate in a future society. There are also links between dangerous science and who should own it. Alas, the writing is a bit disconnected from the gameplay. We could feel that the sci-fi part was not interesting for players. Dungeon Rushes was very fun, and put easy adventures in crazy dungeons. Robothorium was serious business, and the writing was different from Dungeon Rushes. Some players did not really recognize themselves in it. Our marketing was very focused on robots. Sci-fi story until we realized that the very best thing of Robothorium is its gameplay. The gameplay is generous, with skill trees, crafting, looting and such. The progression curve is nice. We decided to shift the marketing more onto the gameplay, and less on the story. We arrived near the end of the early access, and we knew that the game was good. But the sales could not skyrocket. The team decided to give its best, though, because everyone loved the game. All the team pushed towards the release, and it went pretty well. We organized a stream run with around 30 streamers, added a cover art and released. We had a cooldown with the Crow mascot, which generated significant sales. Today, we are preparing the one patch for Switch PC. But we are unsure about how we will push after that. We want to work on our new projects, like Legend of Keepers. We also have to keep working on Sigma Theory Seeds of Resilience. I love states. You love states. Let's make a stats party. As of today, 18 divided by 02 divided by 2019. We are French, but have quite a low amount of French users. We do not know why. Faru, we hired Pangolin, https://twitter.com/pangolin on launch to help us a bit. China is still quite low, cause we had some issues with our publisher there. 125 around the launch SP, 5 to 10 daily, 220 around launch, still going. Thanks for reading. Let me know in the comments if you have questions. Given the current state of the games industry and anxieties like job security and worker conditions plaguing developers, there needs to be alternative ways to run indie and mid-sized studios. Worker cooperatives could be the solution. Developers from several studios spoke about the benefits and drawbacks of worker cooperatives, what they are, and how fellow developers can go and confidentially farm their own. Scott Benson, developer on Night in the Woods, and co-owner of the worker co-op The Glory Society, opened by outlining the positives of an egalitarian games studio. There's not some one way over your head that's sucking up the surplus value of your labor after you get paid. Benson begins. In worker cooperatives, everyone is sharing in that and discussing how that's distributed. Unlike a traditional AAA studio hierarchy, a worker co-op is business-owned, operated, and controlled democratically by its workers who share in the profits of their labor. Some are more structured when it comes to organization. It boils down to one person, one's vote. It's a democratic sort of setup. Bethany Hockenberry, fellow developer on Night in the Woods, and co-owner of the Glory Society, chimed in, sharing the history of worker co-ops. Cooperative societies have existed for centuries in various forms. Worker cooperatives rose to prominence during the Industrial Revolution, in response to growing mass production and the emergence of industrial capitalism. She shared, they have often sprung up in greater numbers during economic and labor crises. We are in the midst of a new wave of worker cooperatives being founded. There's more unionization happening, because we are in a difficult time. She added, most studios operate under a top-down structure, which includes the boss, including my higher-ups, shareholders, etc., and these workers below. Your company could be really cool. However, at the end of the day your boss has power. You do not have much of a say, usually, in how much you work or are paid. Benson added, as opposed to a worker co-op, there are not bosses, everyone is a boss. Tasks are getting assigned and completed by fellow workers, as opposed to a boss. It changes the dynamic of how you work together. So why go co-op? There's shared control and ownership of your workplace, and the products of your labor. You can, as a group of people, go, we made this. We all share in this success. Benson said, there's greater accountability and participation. You have to talk about stuff. You have to get together and talk and vote. There's a more equal share of profits and increased quality of work, and a greater sense of community and emotional support. People are more invested because they feel a sense of ownership, because you are getting together and sharing the ups and downs of the responsibilities. Developer Ted Anderson, Pixel pushes Union 512.